So Hashem says to Bilam two things. He says, don't go with these messengers of Balak, and not only that, and do not curse them because the people are blessed. So the next pasuk says, and Bilam arose in the morning and he said to the officer of Balak, go to your land, for Hashem refuses me to go with you. I cannot go with you. Right. So Rashi emphasized, why not? Why you? What was Bilam saying? He was saying to them, you're not on the level. I'm not going to go with you. You better send somebody bigger than me. So Rashi says, you see that he had Ruach Gavoa. Yeah, he was about Gaiva, because he didn't want to go with them. And he didn't want to reveal that really he's under the Shlita of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the question is, what was the Gaiva? Was the Gaiva that he was saying to him, I don't want to go with you because you're on a high level? Or the way the Rav Chaim Shmuelevich brings to Or Chaim says that wasn't the Gaiva. The Gaiva was that he didn't tell them that I don't want to go with you because I can't curse. But it was really true that he didn't want. In other words, he didn't have gaiva on that part. He didn't have gaiva when he was arrogance when he was telling them that I don't want to go with you because you're not on the level. He was saying that in a regular way. His gaiva was that he didn't want to reveal that Hashem didn't allow him to curse. That was the gaiva. Yeah, right, exactly, exactly. So if that's true, it was really true. In other words, Peshat in the pasuk really was that Hashem says, listen, you can't go with these guys. These guys are not on your level. Which means he was actually giving kavod to Bilam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was giving kavod to Bilam and says, what do you do with these guys? The Or Chaim brings it in Pesukim before. He let him into the room to sleep with them, to hang out with them. He says, what are you hanging out with these guys for? These guys are not on your level. You shouldn't be with them. So the kasha is, how is it possible that Hashem is giving kavod to Bilam? You know who Bilam was? Forget about it. Bilam of Russia, the famous Bilam of Russia. We know that the Bilam was living with animals. This guy was completely disgusting. A gas ruach, an arrogant guy, a guy doing all kinds of magic and all kinds of things. This guy was disgusting in front of Hashem. How could Hashem possibly give him kavod? Chazal tells us that Hashem killed the donkey of Bilam because what? Because it would embarrass him. So we see that even Hashem killed the donkey for the sake of Bilam. So what's going on? How could it be that Hashem is giving kavod? And not only that, the Rav Chaim Shmuelevich says, and imagine if you would have kept the donkey alive. If you would have kept the donkey alive, so everybody would have said, wow, that's the donkey that spoke to Bilam. It would have been a Kiddush Hashem. But Hashem didn't care. For the kavod of Bilam, Rav Chaim Shmuelevich, you get rid of him. We have to kill him. And we know also that God forbid if a person lives with an animal, so we kill the animal for the sake of that person. The person shouldn't say, well, there's the donkey, there's what's his name's friend, you know what I mean? There's the donkey's walking down the street. They shouldn't talk like that. So you see that Hashem is giving kavod to people who live with animals. How can it be? How can Hashem give kavod to people who are so disgusting? There's this theory here. The way we look at it in our world is like wipe the guy out, destroy him, make him into dust. I don't know, get rid of him. I mean, we human dignity. But you see, what do we learn from here? We see the human dignity that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for every human being. It's an unbelievable thing. So he wants to say here that even though that Bilam was the Avi Avos of Tumah, I mean, he was a disgusting, completely disgusting person, but he was still a Ben Adam. He was still a person. So each person has his place. In other words, even though these guys were lower than Bilam, that you still have the dignity of every human being. The Jewish people, we see what Jewish people do to get one human body back, to get a body back, the kavod Adam. There's no such thing as degrading a person completely, absolutely. You have to be very, and alakas kam v'kama, the kavod of your fellow Jew, of a person. One time I saw people in a restaurant, a bunch of guys, the teenagers in a restaurant, making fun of the waiter. You know what I mean? The waiter's coming, they're joking around, well, because he's the waiter. We're buying food. Chas v'shalom aleinu. One of my Rebbe, Rev Hyman told me that Ben Adam lechavero, you have to be so careful not to hurt another person's feelings. The guy is a bad guy, he's a Rushi, he does all these things. We see from here. So he brings down here also like this. Not only that, so the question is like Reuven asked me. He says, wait a second, wasn't this donkey created before the creation? You know that this donkey was created. Hashem had to change the world. He had to make it Benu Shmastos, his talking donkey. He had to make it before the world was created. What was going on there? The answer was, it was just to save, that this Russia shouldn't do one more Avera. He created this donkey to save this guy, that should he do tshuva. So you see the kavod, you see how much Hashem cares about our Averas. Even a guy is a Baal Avera. A guy is full of Averas. But Hashem still cares. Don't do one more Avera. And also he brings it right like this. He says by a sota. What do we do by a sota? This is a woman who cheated on her husband. burn her, get rid of her, kill her, disgusting. Who knows what can you do? How can you do it? We take her, we get a Sanhedrin together of 21 rabbis, we schlep them together in order to scare her. And then we drag her around from this part of the base of Mikdash to that part of the base of Mikdash in order to tire her out, in order that she should be moded, in order she should do tshuva, instead of having to die, God forbid. So people that are Rishayim, see, we're out of whack. We don't realize the value of man. So if a diamond fell in the dirt, you say, ew, I'm not going to touch it. It's all dirty. Get it away from me. No, it's a diamond. It's a diamond. Take it, fix it, work with it. You know what I mean? Every human being is like that. It's a gevoltig. It's an unbelievable thing. Also, sometimes you have to, all of a sudden, you meet a new person, or you get a job, and you have to deal with this person that you would never really deal with before. Like, you're not going to deal with. And you realize this person, they have a family, they have a wife. The lowest of the low, you see a guy in the street, a shopping cart lady, you see, right? She has children. She has maybe a husband or an ex-husband. There's a whole world going on there. She's a human being. She's a human being. We say, Rishayim, don't talk to them, get rid of them. Anyway, what do we have to learn from this? What we have to learn from this is how careful we have to be with the kavod of another human being. And how Hashem really looks at every human being as an image of God. Way, way, way higher than we think people are. The average, what we think is low is really much, much higher. We have to give kavod to every person. It's not a joke. And you have to be very careful, bein adam lechavero, not to hurt anybody's feelings. Because if you hurt people's feelings, that's kas v'shalom, and then a person, all kinds of bad things happen to him.